We saw today a level of devastation in our county that, quite honestly, I haven't seen in the 20 plus years that I've lived here. And when I look across even the Bay Area, living here my entire life, a level of devastation that I have not seen. And while we could not have prevented the devastation itself, right, it is what it is, what was sad is kind of watching people struggle, trying to get out, people that maybe wish that they had evacuated, but didn't. I'm grateful that our first responders were there and ready to help folks get out. But I mean, we saw fires that we could not respond to. We had people that were, power is out, it's dark, water is coming into their house, and they couldn't get out. The call from the 911 operator is, we're going to get to you when we can. At one point in the evening, we had 400 or 500 calls for service, and maybe we were lucky if we could have answered 20% of those at the time. It's heart-wrenching, and for those of us in the EOC, I can tell you we felt very, very helpless. But we eventually got into a good rhythm, and things started happening. And then by daylight, and when the waters were receding, we were certainly hitting our full stride.
When I went out there, the immediate effect that it had on me, this happened in my county. While I was driving around last night looking at flooding conditions, I actually found myself helping residents out of the water, and it really takes you back. The humanity I also saw is heartbreaking and a little gut-wrenching, because resident helping resident is what it's all about. And I saw people getting in boats, helping people out, getting people to the drop-off points. And it's a good heartfelt feeling that when I see it, it's humbling.
If I put myself in the situation, I've either lost everything, or I've lost a home, I've lost a vehicle, I've lost a connection with family. I would say that, first and foremost, folks just need to kind of just start. Sometimes they just say if you start somewhere, you can get going. We're working on putting some resources out there for our citizens to help them. From Pasco County government perspective, one of the things that we're here to help with is looking at debris removal.
There's boats out of canals, there's boats in roadways, there's abandoned vehicles on sides of roads. So it gave me an instant flashback back when I went to Lee County for Ian. Residents that started throwing all their debris out in their front yard on the roadside, and there's a special way to do it, and it needs to be separated. Your white goods, which are your washing machines, dryers, refrigerators, deep freezers, your carpeting, and then your furniture. They need to be separated because they're picked up at different times.
Partially running.
No, they're not alone.
For those that are basically we pulled out and have nowhere else to go, living in shelters, we're looking to set up points of distribution, so pods as we call them, where we'll have food and water there available for distribution. We're working with several not-for-profits as well, Red Cross and other agencies, to additionally provide other things of comfort, aid, and support. We're keeping our hurricane shelter, the Fossa shelter, open for as long as we need to in order to help folks that have been displaced and really have nowhere else to go, at least have a place until we can kind of figure out what it is that we're going to do. We've talked even internally about trying to provide mental health resources as well for affected citizens, because let's face it, this experience has been traumatic.
So I also want to talk a little bit about FEMA. So we have something called IA, which is individual assistance, what is meant for the needs of the family that are affected in disasters. FEMA will come in, they'll do an assessment, and if the county qualifies, it will open up residents to get grants to help establish fixing their residence, unmet needs in their household, and it's available to all citizens within the county.
Our first responder operations are nearing a completion in terms of the initial crisis, so they will be kind of moving back to their normal mission posture of responding to your typical medical and fire-related type calls. Our public works teams are going to be working again to help remove debris, but again we have to begin to start transitioning, and so we've sent out a lot of folks to assess county facilities and operations. But first we have to take care of those basic needs. So our building inspectors have been out doing damage assessment, ensuring that it's safe to have the power turned back on, making sure that folks have those basic necessities. I'm working with the power companies right now to ensure that we get power turned back on. Those are the first things, but then we transition back to business as usual. Hopefully schools will be reopened again on Monday, and we can try to relive a sense of normalcy despite having this massive massive interruption, and then we'll continue to work with those citizens and help them recover in the best way that we can.
Please visit mypasco.net or call our customer service line. They'll be able to connect you with the right folks.